market and see what's happening. It's definitely a bit quiet, but things are brewing, and we are seeing some interesting creation of patterns in the markets that we're going to talk about. As well, we're going to talk a bit about the headlines. What happened last week? Well, I was away on Friday because it was bank holiday in the UK, but we had non-farm payrolls. As you know, we saw job losses of 20.5 million people in the US in the month of April. It's quite interesting though, is like 80% of these people see themselves as temporary job losses. If you look at the actual data, a majority of all this is effectively coming from the last few weeks. You can see how long people have been unemployed. Permanent job losses is anticipated to be about 2 million people. And then there is about another 5 million people or so that would like to have a job, but because of the lockdowns cannot look for or find a job because of these restrictions that have been made. So this is quite interesting because this is what we talked about before, that this is a temporary situation. Of course, it could be that we go from temporary to permanently, and in some industries, it could easily be like that. And but if you look at estimations where stock markets is doing and so on and so on, some people are saying that come November, so time for the election, then in the US, then a presidential election in the US, then we're probably going to be having unemployment figures back down to 6%. And that would be very good. Imagine that we're pretty much at 4%. Now we're at 6% in November. And at the same time, you have all these governments pushing a lot of money into the system. And, that's definitely going to boost stock markets. And if you look at things like the Nasdaq 100, we're just at 4%, 5% away from its 2020 high. And the strong rise in markets that we've been talking about in this show over the last few weeks and months is definitely looking to happen. But you never know, and we could have some challenges. What else? Last week as well, we had Bank of England. They decided not to cut. They decided not to give us any QE, but their money, according to some, is running out by June. So we might have some extension to that. As well, UK yesterday, Prime Minister Boris Johnson announced easing of lockdowns. If you cannot work from home, then you should try to go to work, and you should avoid public transport, and you should also make sure you have social distancing in place. In particular, looking at things like construction, things like that need to get going. If you work from an office, then you should continue to work from home until now, and maybe in June, so in a few more weeks, we might see further easing with the youngest children going back to school. So that depends, of course, what's happening. So we're going towards that reopening, and that is obviously what's interesting for markets. What else this week? On Wednesday, the Central Bank of New Zealand anticipated not to cut interest rates. Keep an eye on that. As well, we have Australian labour market report coming out this week as well. That's also something interesting for the Aussie dollar, especially in times like this. Because if you look at the GBP USD, you look at Euro USD, there's not a lot of activity happening right now. So then for focusing on something like the New Zealand dollar and also the Aussie dollar is interesting. As well, you have a UK and EU GDP, but those numbers are for the first quarter, and they're probably not going to be good. Then come second quarter numbers, they're going to be terrible. I think I saw some headline that the EU or the UK is experiencing its worst economic growth for the last 300 years, which again makes a lot of sense. I mean, I've been home for a long time. This is the second time my wife gives me a haircut. We're all staying at home, not doing too much. And if we do walk outside, we just leave the house just for there's a park just here where we live in central London. And that's all we do. And I go shopping maybe 2 times a week, and I wear a mask, and I avoid people in general, and they avoid me, which is good. Everybody avoids everyone. And then obviously later after that, when people go back to their offices, things will pick up again. So yeah, this is really the headlines for today so far and for the week. Let's move along here. Let's actually take a look at a few charts. So this is the euro as I was talking about. So the euro is effectively trading sideways between 107.25 and 110.17. So there's not a lot of activity here. And I think one of the reasons as well is to remember that the central bank of the US introduced swap deals with big and small central banks across the world. So if you are a foreign multinational company that needs to get hold of dollars, you don't have to go to the open market and put a big order there. You just go to your local central bank and they will lend you money, and they'll do that for a cheap rate. So that is something that is easily, I think, denting trends in currency markets right now. And unfortunately for a trader, if you're a pure currency trader, then that's not going to help you. But if you can trade stock market indices, and you can even go some of the crosses like Aussie dollar, Swissy, Aussie dollar, yen, and things like that, then there's opportunities. But if you're looking to trade the plain vanilla ones, the Euro USD, then there's not a lot of activity happening here. However, don't distress too much. Usually when the markets trade sideways like they're doing here right now, you tend to have a breakout at one point. And if we do take out 107.25, then that can open up further declines. Alternatively, take out the upside and we'll go much higher. Here's GBP versus the USD, and GBP versus the USD is also interesting. So this has now morphed from being an ascending triangle to being more of a normal rectangle. I had a line like this, as you might remember, but I said when we take out this low, it becomes interesting. We did not take out that low. Instead, we're trading above that low, and now we have a nice double bottom and a nice double top, and the market effectively has been trading sideways for quite some time, which makes it interesting to look for a breakout whenever that happens. So if we take out 122.44, I'll turn bearish, can potentially trade down to 118.82. And I'm talking more about the bearish side today because both the Euro USD and GBP USD are trading just above support, which just makes things bearish. And if both trade lower at the same time, that's a good sign. Now here's the dollar versus the Japanese yen. This one is now moving against this trend, which I understand, seeing a bit of higher stock markets over the last few days, stock markets. And a few days ago, a few weeks ago, we said look to sell, for it to come down. It did go down quite a bit. Now it's moving straight against us again. And if you're still holding on to the position, you would be down a little bit now. But the trend will remain bearish for the 107.66. So I'm not changing anything here right now. If we look at the German DAX is having a bit of a pullback. So it's moved down a little bit, but overall going upwards. I think the Nasdaq 100 can be a good guide for us. Check it out later. You can see that it's actually going straight up. I'll show you in a minute actually. But this is going down a little bit. This is always a bit tricky when volatility drops a lot. You don't know, like, is it going to be like that, like a massive slide that you can't really get ready for, or is it going to be a shallow one? Unfortunately, there's not like a great opportunity here from that perspective. Obviously, a very good opportunity was here last week, which we talked about, and the market did eventually go upwards, but I was also bullish from up here, right? So it's a bit tricky. But if we go down to 10,760, I think from here, from that space up to here, people are going to be bullish. And if you're a long-term trader and you just happen to see that the market's trading down here, but not below this level, then that would also be bullish. So it's a tricky situation here. But I think we're going to do like the Nasdaq 100. Look at this. The market went down and then went up and up and up and up, took out the high. It's a terrific opportunity to book some profits. This is not the time to be buying up here. You need a bit of a pullback. Here's the S&P 500. I've been bullish here as well. This is slightly better defined. I like the low here at 27,750. I'm bullish above that level there. Gold prices trading sideways. As you know, I've been saying look to buy down here, and that overall been working out fine. The last setup, I think we actually triggered with this one here, and I think we actually don't. It's a bit confusing because not much has happened here. I think last week we missed this entry. I remember that. I had an entry look to buy here, I think it was. And then we went up a bit of profit, took that profit, and then we said look for it to go down, but we missed this one. Looking at this today, we're clearly just trading sideways, right? If we take out something like 1741, 1750, we'll probably head substantially higher. So that is what I will be watching. At the same time, if we take out 1655, you're going to see panic, and you see a decline at that point. Finally, crude oil prices, and then we got a question about Bitcoin. So this is crude oil prices. So we had a significant push to the upside from its very low here. This market at one point was up with 307%. So clearly you have some profit taking. If you don't see profit taking, then it won't be quite surprising. As well, this contract is going to expire, I think, in the next 2 weeks or so. I think it's the final week of, I think it's, I don't remember exactly now. I think it was Friday 22nd or something like that. And the situation at Cushing, Oklahoma is actually worse now than it was before. So there's less capacity available for people. So if we have a repeat of what we had last month, that would not be unsurprising. I don't think we're going to go to zero, but we can probably go substantially lower, maybe to 1751. So I think I will be neutral here. I think it can go down. Let's see what happens. It has so many highs here that it needs to take out. Okay, let's talk a bit about Bitcoin. We got a question from that about that from Maurizio. So let's take a look at that. And Bitcoin actually had a super interesting situation. Super interesting. So it actually rose quite sharply on April 30 or April 29th, and then it went up and up and up and up. And it was so close to reaching that high here. And this is all about this halvening. So effectively, as far as I understand it, when miners help to clear transactions now, I didn't read up on it, it's been quite some time. As far as I understand, they get half of the reward that they used to do. So it becomes more expensive suddenly to mine. And what happened last time is that when you have these halvenings, you tend to see a strong surge in Bitcoin. And maybe that's the same what's going to happen again. I'm not really sure. I think from a technical point of view, we're definitely not as bearish as we were before. I mean, we are carving out something that starts to look maybe like an inverse head and shoulders with a head, maybe left, and then maybe we need to create a right shoulder here. Maybe we won't. Maybe we'll just stretch out for a few days here and then go upwards. But we need to take out 528. Until we take that out, I think here it doesn't make too much sense to get involved just yet, because we went up, the market got rejected here, and then we're probably going to start to trade lower. We already saw a trade lower from this level. So let's see what happens here over the next few weeks. Okay, it's already 10 o'clock, so unfortunately I need to leave you guys. I'm just going to see if there's any quick questions. So we got questions about Euro USD. Okay, so if you arrived a bit late, I think when you can just do like this, Indian stuff, that's your name. You can just pull things, you can just scroll things backwards, and you'll see that I talked about the Euro USD in the very beginning. For now, I want to say good morning to you guys. We have Liz, good morning to you. I hope you're doing good. We have True Invention. We have Maurizio and Marvin and Sarbjet Singh as well. Good morning to you. I hope you're doing good. I hope I pronounced your name correctly. I'm sorry if I didn't. And we have time for one more question, which is the question about the Euro Yen. So let's take a look at the Euro Yen. And then unfortunately I need to leave you guys. All right, so this is the Euro Yen. So the Euro Yen, let's clean this up for a bit. This is the Euro Yen. So the Euro Yen took out this low, which is September low from 2019. It's also the low here from March, and also the low here from April 24th. So we took out those levels, and that itself is not a pattern, but usually when you take out a major low, you go to the next low, which we actually did, which is the low from April 14th, April 2017. And then you have the next set of lows here at around 112.42 or so. And for now, you're having a corrective phase, and we have this high here. That's the trend defining level at 117.84. And if we zoom in now, I'm using a 1 hour chart, actually switch to 4 hour. You can see we corrected 50% of that move. We can potentially continue to correct a little bit more, maybe to 116.50. But I think in this little area here, if this is a genuine downtrend, then we should be coming down from these levels and roll over and go down over the next few weeks. I can tell you, as long as you're below 117.84, we're going to be a downtrend. When I do these levels, I do quite a big zone like that. Obviously, if you can, and if you're watching price in real time, you can always optimize it. Like right now, it's in the sell zone. It's still like 10 a.m. in the morning, Usually these reversals don't happen at 10 a.m. It will continue to trade a little bit higher, maybe until the opening of the US session, the first 2 hours or so. And then after that, maybe it'll start to roll over. And then it might take a few days. But as long as you trade below 117.84, this is going to be a downtrend. Okay, guys, I want to thank so much for watching and joining me this morning. Here are the headlines again. If you do have any questions, let me know. And you can always reach out to me via Twitter at AlexFX00. Good, I got your name right. That's awesome. As well, don't forget, we have a free premium Forex trading course. So if you like this daily market update, you like the way I explain things, we can actually have access to a course I've done, which covers what I learned over the many years I've been trading, and you can get it all for free as long as you have an account with ATFX. You get access for that. If you don't want to change your brokers or things like that, you don't want to open up and have a second account, you can always just buy the course for $7.99 as well. Just click here for that. Otherwise, click here and then someone is going to be in touch with you. Okay, guys, have a great day, and I'll see you guys tomorrow same time. Thank you, and bye-bye.